Hello there and welcome back. Today we talk about the new Elektron Syntakt. I just got this one a few days ago. I spent a good amount of hour tweaking it, and so far I'm having a lot of fun. Rather than doing a step-by-step tutorial on how to create a patch or pattern, I want to more discuss about the value of this machine and if it's for you. So I hope at the end of the video you will have more of an idea of what this can bring to your setup. Okay, before going on, as usual, some way you can support me. This machine has not been sent to me, or this video is not supported by Elektron at all. So if you want to help all of my honest review and demo, you can subscribe to this page, share this content, buy these things from the affiliate down below, or become a Patreon. On Patreon, I actually release my unpacking and the first patch I did. So if you're interested to see how intuitive this is, you can head there. And I'm planning to do next week a full track starting from a patch, then going into computer and editing until everything is ready to go. Okay, that said, what is the Syntakt? It's a 12-track drum computer and synthesizer. Basically, it sports a 35 machine, and the concept of machine comes from the machinedrum and the Octatrack 2. Basically, are sound module that each one has a specific kind of sound design. So this one has 35, and some of them are taken for previous or other Elektron products. Basically, I feel they grab the most interesting, I have to say, machine from other instrument and put it here, creating a wonder box that has all the power you need to create tracks or sketches. The great part, I think, is that this is a USB compliant box, so with just one cable you can go inside your DAW, use the overbridge. I'll maybe do a video about that in the future, and you will have all the 12 tracks separate, plus one stereo track for the effects, that is delay and reverb, one stereo track for the FX track. It's a new concept that is pretty interesting, and one other stereo track for the input left and right. So you will end up with 15 separate tracks, and that's really had power to this, because you will manage to, start from some ideas and then mix it up and make it more complex. Or finish it as a track in the DAW. I think that for me was the selling point. I'm used to other machine that I use a lot, the Octatrack, for example, that is my favorite Elektron box, followed by machinedrum. But those one, even though the machinedrum has a lot of out, it's always hard to record, it takes a lot of time, and I started using the overbridge with the rhythm. The rhythm sent all of his tracks separately too, and that allowed me to create something very, very cool and have a lot of more sound design possibility, and this one will allow me to do the same. So for this demo, review, wherever, we are just listening the left and right out. In the first track, I was using the Oto Boum. I think that this machine, having the first 8 track as digital track and 4 track as analog, it actually benefit a lot in having a warming box. And I was using quite a lot of compression and a touch of drive. I think the Oto Boum is the best, one of the best pedal you can put at the end of your chain. I use it in my live setup, and with this one, it's a very, very great combo. But we will turn it on and off to decide how these things sound. That said, I would love to go to few of the patches I create. Before of that, a quick overview of the machine. So we have first row, it's 8 different tracks. Let me load an empty pattern and let you listen what they are about. So from 1 to 8, we have 8 tracks. Each of these tracks will can be assigned to a machine, a digital machine. So this is the base, the base setup that comes with. So as you can hear, you might have recognized some of the sound because some of them come from the model, from the digital or model cycle, some kind of FM machine. Something are mutuated from the machinedrum. I have to say that after a few days, I feel this is a machine that is more oriented towards the percussion design, but it has some sound modules, some sound machine that I really loved. For example, the chord one was my favorite one in the model cycle. I didn't really click with that one. It was too simple for me. Not simple. It didn't have enough control for what I like, but I loved the chord machine. And now having it in this one with some more control and more ease of using, sequencing, chord progression, it's really cool. Let's see, I will let you listen to all the machines. So this is called bass drum modern, snare basic, snare vintage, percussion carbon, clap vintage, cymbal alloy. This is synth bit that I really like, the chord, the tone, the toy, and then MIDI machine. All of the 12 tracks, including the 4 analog, can be assigned as a MIDI machine, so it can control an external synthesizer. So this can be a small brain for your setup, because you can sequence something and then send it through the input, and you can send the input and left and right to the internal effects, the delay and reverb, plus the effects track. We'll see that later. So for each of these machines, you will have a different synth page. If you know Elektron, basically it's all the same. You have a trig page, synth page where you sculpt your sound, and a filter page, amp, and LFO. 2 LFO per track. Lovely feature. I love having LFO. So, for example, they remade all of the graphics, and that's pretty fun. A little arcade looking. So for example, this is the chord machine that it has a lot of waveform that you can automate with LFO, so it's pretty cool. And then you can choose the different chord, and with this one you can decide the different, how many notes, if they are higher pitcher or lower pitcher, and you see it's this fun animation. You can like it or not, but it's cute. And I show you beats I like. The beats is this, I don't know where it comes from, but you can mix tune and noise, and beat reduction is like that arcade shooter. I feel it's similar to the Teenage Engineer PO boxes that has this kind of fun design. Just to be upfront, the capability, the sound capability in a tonal range of this machine is not as evolved as an analog 4, for example, but it sounds nice. It works. We will listen to some example later. So even though each synth has just one page of control, then you have a lot of filter option. You can send it to the effects track. You can sculpt the sound and get to some very nice result. Of course, it's simplified, and that is not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes streaming out the process and making it easier and faster can lead to a easier, faster production. So it could be used as a strength. And that's only you can decide if this is good or not. Sometime I got lost when a synth has too many things. And so this is a machine that probably allows you to be more creative in a way, like it creates some sound, some music, and then maybe later on evolve it in your DAW or whatever. So I won't go through all the machine. There's other video out there that are very depth on that, so go check them out. Let's listen just quickly to the analog machine. So the analog machine, I thought they were all the same. I wish that would have been a good thing, but you have 3, 9, 10, and 11 that are aimed to percussion, bass drum, and bass. And 12 is a machine dedicated to cymbal. I'm not a big user of cymbal, so I won't use the 12 too much for that, but they all have one of my favorite feature, that is come from the rhythm, that is the noise and impulse. I love those machines, I use them all the time, so it's great to have them. Let's listen. So the first 3 share this machine: bass drum, hard, classic, FM, plastic, silky, that is my favorite, all favorite in the rhythm, so I'm very happy to have it here, and sharp, that's another of my favorite. Then you have some snare, hard, classic, FM, natural, then rimshot, the noise and impulse that are, I use them extensively, then the famous dual VCO and a MIDI. The dual VCO is a machine that has been not hacked, but added later on the rhythm, that had some synth quality. So you have a dual VCO. I'm gonna show you after. So it allows you to create nice bass line. Then let's check the 12. 12 has all of these hat. Noise and impulse. So what I have to say instantly about the balance of the kind of machine you have, it feels that it's definitely more created towards rhythm. I wish there were some more tonal machine. I'm sure though that this is something that can happen later on. I feel that the 12, that is the hat, it sounds nice. And it's actually the only machine that I would use more extensively for hats, because the counterpart on the digital machine that is called this CY cymbal alloy, it sounds interesting, but definitely not my favorite sounding hat machine. I'm not using a lot of hats, honestly, on my music, so it's not a deal breaker for me, but I hope to see in the future more machine come. I'd like to, this machine feels more like a platform where you can, it would be amazing to upload your machine, like in some other effects and stuff that come out, a sort of base where you can add different machine, and I hope Elektron will start adding. The big missing point, I don't know what to say, it's like a sample machine. Now I know that there's the Digitakt, that is a sample, same format and use sample, but I would have loved to see some sample capability in the way like the machinedrum does, like a very limited yet quirky and glitchy and very interesting resampling tool. That would have been great. If you give me a machine that resample just what's happening in here, and then I can place it as a triggers, I think that would have made this machine way better, like more interesting, and give you a lot of more sound capability things. I wonder if this can happen in the future. No, there's 2 input. I don't know if the interior of this machine has some capability like that. We will see. We know that Elektron always keep adding things, so I hope to see some very interesting thing. Okay, that's for the track. Then you have a new thing called the effects tracks. Basically, function effects allows you to route any of the track and also the effect tracks into this new track. And this new track offer three analog effects, analog processing, I don't know how to call it. So to just route, you just select the tracks you want. And now I select everything. And now let's hear what happened. Let's put just a kick just to hear what happened. And now we go in the effects page, and we have a page for drive, a filter, multimode filter, analog, and an envelope. And this is an amp envelope, and then you can send from here to the reverb and delay. Nothing happened, I don't know why. I don't want to lose too much time, so let's listening with some other tracks maybe later. It's an interesting feature that can definitely allow you to sculpt the sound and the patch more, and also you will have it in a separate track with the USB. Okay, then you have 4 new buttons that are like performative. I don't want to go there yet, that's for another video. So there's these 2 new things. And just to be clear, this machine doesn't really had some revolution to the line of Elektron. It's more of a grabbing cool things, put them together, and give you a convenient box to play with. So so far I'm not blown away by like, oh, this is something new, but it's just like, this is something convenient. It sounds good and it's some fun to play. Let's listen now to the patch that I did so far that I enjoy while my cat is munching on boxes. So let's start with the one I was playing at the beginning, because I really like the sound of it. I'm turning off the auto, so this is the pure sound of the Syntakt. Now let me reload it. So, few cool things. I like to add the auto because it had sorry. I made this patch very dark because I wanted then to push it with some drive and compression, and it brings it really to life. But anyway, let's keep it like this. This track has like 12 or 13 track sport, not all of them. There's this sort of 303 sound that to me is really nice. And I use a trick that I found in another patch here called Silver State. I don't know who did it, but basically to do the slide, since this machine doesn't have a slide function, I used the LFO destination tune, and I trigger that with some trigger trig here, so it will open the LFO, and in this trigger, as you can see, the LFO is triggered, and it creates this slide. Very cool trick. Thanks whoever created it. So let's listen to some other. The first one I did called Undoubtedly. Let's add some auto. Not massive difference, but I think it sounds more organic, sounds more analog. I don't know. I really like what this guy does. Simple patch. I like to use this machine mostly doing sequence on one page and adding trig condition and trig probability. That's a great tool, the great fun that Elektron sequencer has. Just to let you listen the full kit that I did. This is great for dubby stuff. Some like nice tone. The synth beats, it really allows to get this interesting sound. I love this one, for example. That's beautiful sounding. And then the silky, it's really sounding great. I use always noise to add some noise. I wish, and please, Elektron, put a noise on this other machine, because I always want to have noise going on, and it's sad that I have to use one of this machine. Impulse, very hard to hear. And this is actually a tune that I created with the impulse. So impulse, it would just be an impulse like t-t-t. But if you filter it and add resonance, hear it can become a very interesting percussion. I use it always like that. One cool thing, it's like this machine has the control all thing. So if you press track, whatever you do is gonna be applied to all the tracks. So you can create these things, and when you want to go back, function, reload, and you go back. And this is a very cool performating thing. More on that later. Let's listen to the second patch that I did. And one. This is more of a game-ish, 8-bit kind of vibe. One thing's too kinda nice. Again, I work with these two in tandem, so if you can feel that it's a little dark sounding, and I love it, so that's my style. I create all of these with the idea to have the auto on the end. This one use a lot of effects tracks, as you can see, except for the kick. And I did this trick, well, I put the amplitude here so it duck when you sequence, because the FX track has its own sequencer. And as you can hear, it clean for the kick. If I push this, it creates a lot of pumping. So it's a sort of sidechain trick that you can use. Let's listen to another pattern. Duck. My names are beautiful. So this is like a classic, more dub techno thing. As usual, when I turn on the auto, to me, it's another world. I believe that I went a lot in the dark with this one, and I like this dark sound. So, but I'm sure you can push also the higher frequency a lot if you use the machine better. I don't know. I like it as it sounds right now. Okay. Another pattern. This was inspired by Paul, one of my favorite artists, Stefan Betke, with his like very environmentally heavy dub. So as you probably start realizing, it's a machine that can work nicely to create sort of rhythmical, evolving, immersive kind of patch. I really enjoy this sound, and adding trig probability, so most of the things that come in, like this sound, will come every 3 or 4 cycle, and it kind of keep the tension on, at least mine. Nice. Let's go now. Pattern 5 is the one we listed. The last 2. This is more of a kind of electro track. Nice. And then the last one that I did, I decided to do just something very rhythmical. I really like this one, and let's listen. For example, this is a kind of territory that I never really go, because I don't know how to do it. It's like the more on the Richard Devine kind of rhythmic experimentation, and it's the first time that I get something that is interesting. It's mostly using LFO to tune things randomly, and I feel it's pretty cool. If you had some drive here, it's pretty cool. Okay, and this is so far what I did in one day. Of course, learning also. It's all stuff that I can use, I can record separately, and then from there create a full track. So, wanted to keep this as short as possible and get to the point. Who is this machine for? It's hard to say because I'm still learning it, and as an owner of basically everything that Elektron did, I own everything that they ever produced, mostly for some time and then resell it. And right now I have 2 octatrack, a machinedrum. What else? I have this, of course, and a rhythm. This is a machine that can substitute a rhythm. Okay, if I reply to this, I'm sure I will make a lot of people angry, because there has been a lot of polarizing thought about the Syntakt. Like every new product that come out, especially for producers like Elektron, of very beloved things, there's always these emotional things of people that want to buy it and cannot buy it, so they will criticize it maybe, or people that have like an idea, preconceived idea, without even trying it. And then people that are tied to other machine and they wanted to see something. So I don't want to go in that direction. I feel that this is a very powerful, interesting tool. It can definitely be used by itself as a one-man band, and then allow you to evolve what you did in the DAW. As a performance machine is not really my kind of cup of tea, because the sequencer is the kind of Digitakt sequencer. I prefer performing on an octatrack, the rhythm has more, for example, thing. But there's the control O, is pretty cool. There's the new effects track that can be used to control everything. So it has potential for that. But I feel it's more something that you create and then maybe reuse it. While I'm very comfortable with the other tools that I have in create and improvise, I don't know if I would be able to improvise on this. So I still have to see how these fit on my improvising setup. To get back to the question, can this replace a rhythm? I think so, because I end up using the same 3 things on the rhythm. Well, it has so many things, and I feel all the things that I like there are put in here. So I will have the silk drum machine, the VCO, the inputs and noise, and I'm kind of fine with that. Plus a plethora of other machine. And let me say that the rhythm is cool, but it's big. I never liked really the form factor. I never ever use the pads, so for me those are useless. I wish the rhythm was this size. This one next to my Octatrack is perfect sizing, portable, and will add a lot of dough to my setup. The rhythm is like another kind of look. I don't know. I always hated that fact. Would this compare at all to the Analog 4? I think no. Analog 4 is aimed to synth design, and it's way more deep and versatile. Can this create interesting tonal part? Yes, especially using the LFO. That I think it's the power of this. You have a lot of LFO, then you have the LFO in the FX track, you can sequence the FX tracks, so you can definitely create a very complex, interesting idea. But if you are thinking to get something that will allow you to do sound design as you can do on Analog 4 or other synth, I think you will be disappointed. Would this compare to the machinedrum, another of my most beloved treasure? Machinedrum, sound-wise, I think so, because machinedrums can sound very digital, can sound very quirky. It needs sometimes some box like this, but what the machinedrum has is, first, if you have the UW, the resampling machine that are pretty awesome, and then that guy has 16 LFO that you can use for each track, because that one has 16 track. But also you can reroute all the LFO to one track, so one track can have 16 LFO, a brilliant things that it seems Elektron don't use anymore, and that's kind of a shame. So can it compare to that? Yes, it can. I feel with this one you can get in some of those direction. Would I sell my machinedrum for this one? No. Would I sell my rhythm for this? Maybe, because I would rather have a small box like this. And if you use this just for a rhythmic tool, I think for me, for my needs, this is more than what I need. I am planning to do test with this Octatrack and the Vermona, maybe sending the Vermona in here and use the delay and reverb. So I still need to dig deeper, but I feel that if you take this as a collection of useful things that are nothing new, but are packed in a new format and allows you to have a lot of fun with portability and conveniency, you will be happy with this machine. Now, for the price, I wish this was on the same range of the other, like in $600-700 or euro, I don't really know. This one is $1,000, and I feel that considering the fact that most of the things come from other machines, it's a little on the higher part of the price spectrum. So I wish they could have do $800, $750. That would have been perfect. What would I love to see? A compressor on the main bus. That would have been great. Like in the FX track, have a compressor or just a master. I wonder if this can happen later on. There's a lot of space, I feel, to improve that part. So compressor, and that's why having a box like this really make the machine better. One other thing that I would love is having two different delay. Like you can use the delay here as a send, so you will have one setting for it, so the delay time is gonna be just one for everything. kinda nice, but also for dubby kind of things, I would love to have that change. You can automate a little with the LFO. Luca Longobardi, a friend of mine, told me about this trick, like having LFOs changing the send of the delay and reverb, and that's pretty cool, but it's not what I really need. And that's about it. I think, you know, when I buy an instrument, I always have a couple of weeks that I keep it and say, will I keep, will I send it back? I'm more on the, I'm gonna keep it because it can really add something that I don't have with other tools, or it's just convenient to have. What now I would like to see, and I feel that it's a big hole that all the Elektron stuff have, is a machine that is a sort of mixer, like the Octatrack is, but just dedicated to mixing, and especially since this all of the new machine has this USB FAC that can send tracks separately. Figure to have a sort of machine that has 16 track that you can feed by USB, so I can send all of these separately, and then I can add effects, send with this. That would be amazing, and I wonder if Elektron will ever. A lot of people talks about that. I wonder if Elektron will ever do that. Anyway, that's it. So far, this is a cool machine. I'm liking it. Not blown away completely yet, but I might get there, and we will see in the next few weeks what I'm gonna do with it. And again, next week I'm on my Patreon. I'm planning to do a full track and see where we go there, where we get. So, thanks for watching. I hope this was interesting and clear some idea on the Syntakt. We'll see, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.